The documentary, The Cost of Winning, in 4 episodes, does a great job of telling the core story of St. Francis Academy, its why of being an academic oasis for kids from Baltimore and beyond, along with the story of Coach Poggi and the school's ascension as a football powerhouse. One of the most astounding things about this team is that St. Francis is so good that all the teams in the MIAA all opted out of playing them. Thus, St. Francis has to play the best of the best around the country every year instead. You are seeing what this team has to go through and traveling like a college team, having to keep their grades up, losing friends to gun violence, all the while trying to get scholarships on the next level. And it jumps through the screen. The coaches, like the teachers at St. Francis Academy, generally love the students there and are invested in them becoming fully self-actualized adults. And you're also hearing from people outside of St. Francis and what they think about how the school handles business regarding football. And a lot of folks didn't have the nicest things to say. Think about the Baltimore version of Friday Night Lights, the documentary. Shot selection and production value is very similar to what you're used to seeing on HBO's Hard Knocks. If you're a high school football fan, Baltimore sports fan, or a fan of good documentaries in general, watch this. St. Francis has always been known for its basketball squad: Angel McCautry, Bub Carrington, Angel Reese, Derek Queen, the list goes on. We didn't even have a football team when I graduated from St. Francis way back in 2006. In fact, a lot of guys in my class was like, "Dag, I wish we had a football team so I could try out." For them to have such a great football team in such a short time is amazing. For St. Francis to be so good that other legacy schools in and around Baltimore said we aren't going to play them is astounding. St. Francis is criticized for the way it recruits. It goes outside of Baltimore to get some of the best talent around the U.S. However, every school can do this. Coach Poggi, who helped transform St. Francis football, is also accredited for making Gilman a football machine, winning 13 Maryland state titles. While he was there, Gilman recruited the same exact way St. Francis recruits. And none of the Catholic schools in the league walked out and said that they weren't going to play Gilman. I'm not going to lie, that's funny to me, but I'm gonna leave that there. As far as I know, St. Francis still does not have its own football field to practice or play on. They certainly didn't when Coach Poggi was there. I'm not in these other schools' pockets, but drive past Gilman to some of these other schools. The schools look like small college campuses. You telling me if they were 2 or 3 difference makers away from a state championship, they couldn't recruit a kid from DC, Northern Virginia, Philly?